ಭೈರವ ಕಾಲಿಕೆ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಜಯಮ ಜಯಮ ಜಯಮಾದ್ಯ ಜಯಮಾದ್ಯ. Good afternoon, one and all. Another day, another video. Thanks to her. And first of all, happy Kalashtami to all of you. Today, I wanted to discuss about the greatest. When I say greatest, it's the greatest Guru Shishya bond that is known to us. Sadly, not many people know about it, and it's unknown to a lot of people. The whole world knows about Sri Paramahansa Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. I just like to call him Swami because he's someone that I adore so much. So, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji and Swami, we know the Guru Shishya bond between them, right? We are not delving into that Guru Shishya bond, but today's topic is about another Guru Shishya bond. It's Swami Vivekananda and Alasinga Perumal. I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard his name. Even I haven't known him till a couple of days back. And I started to know more about him, and then there were a lot of fut moments when I got to know at least the major predominant part of the story. So let's get started. It's not gonna be you know it's gonna be because the story is about a very simple man, and it's gonna bore a lot of you. It's gonna be boring. So, and I haven't prepared anything. So if you don't want to watch, swipe away. So yeah, let's get back. Alasinga Perumal. He was born in the mountain region of Chikmagalur, Karnataka, to a very simple man. His father, Narasimha Chakravarti, he used to work at a municipal corporation back in Karnataka, and mind you, the time frame that we are talking is about pre-independence era, somewhere in 1800s. So keep that in mind on your side. Then, because Alasinga Perumal's father was not getting good enough income, they've decided to move to the Madras, the province. And that's where he grew up and he learned a lot of things. Alasinga was a really bright student, and he was very good with Vedas, and at the same time, he's very good with his academics. He became a teacher at the age of 20, and people who see him in the university would just make fun of his attire, saying, he used to come with a big white turban and then three namas, and people would make fun of him. But he's the professor who teaches modern science. The moment people start listening to his teaching, they would just go, wow, what a man. Such what was his caliber and dedication to teach. I think you must have seen very few people in your life who teach something like not by word, not just by verbal communication. It feels like whatever they're telling just goes right into your skull. Somebody open your skull and put information. He was blessed with that kind of ability. And probably this was around 1880s or 90s. So Alasinga Perumal, he had two burning desires. The first one being uh, his trishna for spiritual knowledge. He wanted to progress spiritually. He had read all the Vedas and that stuff, okay, but he wanted something more. That was the first one. And the second thing that he was yearning for, freedom of India. So he had this idea to, he was searching for answers. Is there any way we could combine these two, spiritual knowledge and the urge to inspire people to get freedom for India? He was searching for a guru, but he spoke to a lot of people, and then he realized not many people, maybe people had the intensity, but he did not find the spiritual depth. After Sri Ramakrishna Parahamsa passed away, Swami Swami Vivekananda, he had become a wandering monk. He walked all over India. And for me personally, Swami is Bhairava. He had gotten Kali from his guru, and he put Kali inside him. And we always tell Bhairava is, when Shiva gets into Smashan, he becomes Bhairava. What is Smashan? Peop- do you die in Smashan, or do you die somewhere and go to Smashan? If place where you die is Smashan, if death is related to Smashan, everywhere around you is Smashan. Who knows how many people have died in the place you are sitting right now? So, Ma Kali was inside Swami, and he walked like Bhairava. He was Bhairava. And she saw everything from his eyes. She knows she is the creator, but if you understand, you understand. Then he had come to Madras in the year 1892. Yeah. One day, at the edge of Kanyakumari, the last land part of India, now it's called Swami Vivekananda Memorial Land, he just jumps into the ocean and swims across the ocean and goes to the land. He sits there, he just sits there and meditates for 3 days and 3 nights without food, without water. And then he comes to a realization that a hungry stomach is not ready for spirituality. And all his questions were answered. The final answer was he wants to regenerate India. That was his motive. So, 1892, Alasinga Perumal and Swami Vivekananda. He was searching for somebody who can give the spiritual knowledge, and at the same time who can unite India, who can reform India and awaken people, not just at spiritual level, physically, mentally, educationally, socio-politically, everything. He wanted to combine these two ideologies. And here is Swami Vivekananda. Okay, giving you some more stories in between. Coming here around the same time, Alasinga Perumal had known about the Parliament of Religions, which was gonna happen in 1893 September in Chicago. We all know that Swami, the famous speech at Chicago, Sisters and Brothers of America, and that was a point in the Kala Chakra which shifted the whole course of Kala Chakra. That exact moment. And if it weren't for Alasinga Perumal's sacrifices, the world would have never heard about the speech from Swami. We'll get into details. So, at the same time, Alasinga had heard 1892. He heard about the Parliament of Religions happening in Chicago, and for his shock, he got to know that no one had nominated to represent Sanatana Dharma. Nobody is going. He requested people, but he realized people who are well versed with Vedas and the spirituality, they are not good with their English. And Westerners who are good with English, they don't have the spiritual depth. He was searching for somebody who could go there, and at the same time, his two intense desires. This was Alasinga Perumal. And coming to Swami Vivekananda, he was a wandering monk and walked across all over India, seeing the situation of people, and decided this is not time for spirituality. But if you let the situation go away, there would never be a situation in future where you can start teaching spirituality to these people. He needed to act. He needed to do something. Then he realized the first step is to regenerate India, Bharat. And what was Swami Vivekananda's teaching? He had an ideology of Vedanta, not Vedas, Vedanta. I will just say the same words that he had told. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more, or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or books or rituals or temples or forms are but secondary details. This is what exactly what Swami Vivekananda had written. People who are following the channel must have already connected the dots. He's potentially speaking about the fifth head, but he realized the people are not yet ready for fifth head. The country was hit by famines. Poverty was everywhere. Despair situations where people could only think about food for the day. If I could get some food for the day, I'd be enough. Some food for my family, I'd be in peace. That was the situation. And the fateful day had come when Swami Vivekananda and Alasinga Perumal meets. So, when Alasinga Perumal had heard about there is some monk from north of India, from Bengal, the capital during that time, he they all wanted to go meet him. So he had a gang, friends of like-minded people with like-minded ideas. There was this one particular person. I forgot his full name, but he is known by a short form Kiddy. And guess what? He is the professor of Sh- Srinivasa Ramanujan. They both worked on a lot of things together. Small world, right? So let's get back. So they were all expecting a monk, full of big beard and ashes all over body, wrinkled skin, you know, like a typical monk. But then when they go there, they see this beautiful looking man in his late 20s, maybe 29 or 30, who's burning like a sun. His face was so bright, and the eyes. They've never seen a person whose eyes were expressing so much. The aura that was getting from Swami, Alasinga Perumal knew in that moment. And then after they had a conversation, he knew it was him. He is the one he had been waiting for. Because imagine like you are in a desert for all of your life, no water, no food, and you are at the edge of brink of extinction, death. Then suddenly you go to a place in a rainforest with full of resources. That was the condition of Alasinga Perumal. He surrendered completely to Swami. No doubts, no hesitation. He just surrendered. And whenever Alasinga had gotten time, because he was a professor, he was a headmaster at Panchayappa University, he would just run to Swami Vivekananda's house and they just sit, they talk. Even if they're not talking, he would just sit in solace with him. And that was his bliss. He would just forget the whole world and sit with Swami. But Alasinga, on the back of his head, so one day he got this idea. Here is the man who is well versed in everything, A to Z. You name Vedas or poetry, be it Indian or the Western culture, he knows it all. And the way he speaks is something else. So he thought, why shouldn't I ask my guru to go to the Parliament of Religions? And next day, he goes and he asks his guru, Swami, why shouldn't you be going to the Parliament of Religions in Chicago? And Swami replies, if my mother wills, I will. He's a Kaliputra, don't forget it. Huh? Then they start making the preparations. The king of Ramnad, Raja of Ramnad, he assures them that he would take care of the expenses of Swami to go to Chicago. And they were all happy. They were making the preparations. And then when Alasinga goes to King of Ramnath, this time he refuses. He says, I won't help you people. Who knows what he thought? He refused to give the money. And the whole plan got cancelled. The only problem was getting money. And there was literally no medium to get money. So Alasinga and his friends, who are all the shishyas of Swami, they've come to a conclusion. The only way is to go to door, house to house, with a bhikshapatra and ask for money and explain them why they need money. Swami was not happy with it, but Alasinga Perumal was firm. He was keen. He knows the importance of Swami going to Chicago, to the west. Literally, Alasinga Perumal goes to door. He was a headmaster. He had a very good reputation, like a name in the society. He left all his identities. He went door by door. He explained the importance and asked for money. Like, just imagine the people in 1892 where you were at the society is a downtrodden, and some professor comes and says the importance of a monk. For them, this monk is a stranger. A monk who needs to go to the west to preach about Sanatana Dharma. They were furious. Few of them just laughed on his face. Few of them were they couldn't help. Few of them have told these people as misguided youth, misguided people. But still, he went door to door with the bhikshapatra begging for money so that his guru can go to Chicago. Finally, he collected around 400 or maybe 500 rupees those days, and he comes back to Swami. Now, there was one thing bothering Swami. He thought, is it the divine will, or is it just my own thought? He wanted a nimitta, a divine sign from his divine mother. He did not get one. So what did he say? He asked Alasinga Perumal to give away all the money to the poor. Now, collecting money was a thing in the first place in a time like that, and they had given away all the money for the poor. That is another thing. And Swami said, if it is her will, she will arrange money, and I will wait for a nimitta. And in the meantime, Swami goes to Hyderabad and he goes to Mysore, he goes to Junagadh, and he goes to the king of Khetri, and he goes to Gujarat, Rajasthan, going and preaching about Dharma like a satsang. People were just, they couldn't, they just wanted him to be there. And when all of this is happening, one day he finally returns to Madras. And during his sleep, he was almost lucid. He was sitting in a beach and he looks to his side. He sees his guru. His guru gets up, walks across the sand on the beach, and walks on the water. Then he turns back. Narayan, get up. It's time to go. बहुत काम है. You have a lot of work. And then Swami wakes up with tears in his eyes. That was the first nimitta. And the second nimitta comes from his Guru Amma, Sri Sharada Devi. She writes to him, even though she did not want him to leave the country and go to an unknown place all by himself. Such were her motherly instincts. But she had to put her personal feelings aside because she had a vision of Sri Ramakrishna Parahamsa that he needed to go. And she gives her blessings to him for the coming path. Swami was crying in joy. And he goes to Perumal, Alasinga Perumal. Perumal, we have gotten the nimittas, not just one, two of it. Let's plan for the trip to the West, Parliament of Religion Cities. Now it's a bigger task. Alasinga Perumal had to go to door again for the second time, explaining people. But this time, Swami Vivekananda says, don't get money, don't ask kings and people. I'm going to the West to reform the masses and downtrodden people of India. Go to them who have gotten the jnana from the meetings where Swami had spoken about the Dharma. Go to them and tell them, explain the importance of it. And this time, Alasinga goes again. And people would start giving money. They collect around 4,000 rupees this time. First time it was 500. This time it's 4,000. Imagine in Madras, hot, blistering sun of Madras. Swami Vivekananda says one thing about Alasinga Perumal. There is no other man with such honesty, such discipline, such matrubhav. He is just, he would say, वो भगवान थे, even though he is his shishya. What a man. Alasinga Perumal. Even the name, uh, so Alasinga Perumal. So his father name was Narasimha Chakravarti. So their Kuladeva is Narasimha Deva, right? They wanted him to name Narasimha, but father's name is already Narasimha. So his mother did not want to name, have two Narasimhas in the house. So what did they do? They named him Alasinga. In Tamil, Ala, Alage, Alagia. I think it's, I don't know if I had pronounced it right, but Alage, it's something related to beauty, handsome. And Singam, lion. Combine both. Back to Narasimha again, Narasimha Deva. Alasinga Perumal. That's how he had gotten his name. So they have gotten the money this time, and Swami, somebody, they didn't, even though they had money in those days, 1 pound is equivalent to 15 rupees. And then the conversion rates now that we have now, they would take huge amounts of commission to give them notes. They would give them cash and they would give them notes. You can use the note to get cash. So finally, after all the conversion, they had 178 pounds for Swami. He did not have good shoes. Somebody had given him shoes to go to the west. They were two sizes smaller than his feet. He still wore it, walked around with those feet. With those shoes, they were hurting his feet. And Swami goes to the west. So, first we'll decode here. Why did when okay, first you need to understand one thing. Swami Vivekananda is someone who knows the entire script, and who is someone who can rewrite the whole script, but he still chose to act with the script. So when you just casually, when Alasinga had gone out for the first time just to get money, ask money for explaining, for that was a donation. The money they are getting was Ma Kamala, one of the Mahavidya. Ma Kamala would come and would go. She's very fast. He did not want that. So what did he do? He gave Jnana so that people could assimilate whatever Jnana what Swami was giving. And then if they wanted to give, they would just give how much ever they want to. People did give. What is this? This is Shanishwara. Blessings of Shanishwara. When you have have the blessings of Shanishwara, the funds would keep on coming. Think of it. People were not just 1 rupee. Those days we had annas. People were giving 1 anna, 2 annas. Even though it was just mere money, but very small amount of money, but that was all they had. Because I remember an incident from my own life when I wanted to give money to Go Seva, to the mission. Few, maybe a year and a half back, I was still a student and I hardly had 1500 rupees. And I wanted to give money. So I just gave 1000 and told Ma that, see Ma, I only have this much. I could only give this much and I'm sorry. Make me someone in a state where I can give more. I'll do my work. That is always told her. And I did feel bad that I could only give 1000 rupees. And then Guruji said something that when he went to a satsang, after the satsang, somebody had sent him 20 rupees and wrote a mail, a person saying, I'm student, I really wanted to give money, but I just had 20 rupees with me, so I just gave 20 rupees. Imagine that Shakti of 20 rupees. It's pure, intense blessing of Shanishwara. It's like tick mark is done. If you're watching this video, whoever had sent that 20 rupees to Guruji, he remembers that you sent. Okay, back to the story. Uh, Swamiji had gone to the west, and but he did not register for the event, and he did not bring any credentials for the event. He had reached couple of months early, and then he realized he had it was so cold, and he had to buy cigars and burn them for the warmth so that he could survive. And as usual, the West was costly. What 178 pounds he had to stay, he had to eat. He would hardly eat something. He Most of the time he'd be fasting, saving money. Imagine, we'll see what. And he wrote a letter back to Alasinga. I'll just read couple of lines from the letter. And he was already out of money almost by the time, because those days he had to write a letter from there, and by the time it reaches here it had to go back, reply back to the west. It would take a lot of days, so he wanted more money to survive there. So he wrote in a letter to Alasinga, only try your best to help me as much as you can, and even if you cannot, I must try to the end. And even if I die of cold or disease or hunger here, you take up the task. Holiness, sincerity, and faith. Remember this particular line. We'll talk more about this at the end. So, Swamiji was literally struggling there. And people saw a brown man in a different attire, wearing the maroon, the brown outfit that he had with an orange turban, walking across, seeing the places. People pelted stones at him. He had to run away. He would not eat for days. The cold, he did not have a good clothing to wear. And this is all written in the stories. And Alasinga Perumal, when he read the stories, he cried his heart out because he considered Swami as his guru. He respected and he was his everything. And it was him who asked if he could go for this event. And he agreed. So Alasinga took upon himself that because of him, Swami is suffering there. And he was cribbing here for his guru. He doesn't know what happens next second. And he did not even have money. And what did he do? He borrows 1000 rupees from a merchant, and he sells the gold of his wife, Rangamma, Jayama. And she happily gave the gold. And she sold the gold, got the money, and he sent it to Swami again. And imagine Swami there. knowing that he took a loan of 1,000 rupees in those days. He would hardly get 50 rupees per month as his salary, and he had a family, and he sold his wife's gold. Swami was crying there. We see the stoic side of Swami. The whole world sees how strong he is, everything. But Alasinga was probably the only person who had seen the most vulnerable side of Swami. At his lowest, when he was crying, when he almost gave up, when he couldn't. This is all written by Swami in the letters. He would only write to Alasinga. Such was the bond. No selfishness, no expectation, just pure surrender and pure love for each other. And the event did come, and Swami did give the speech. And if you don't know about the speech, you should know about it. Read about it. See. And speech was a huge success, like a huge success. And people in the West, very few people. There are really good people, foreigners, who did help Swami over the duration. But there were a couple of people, few of them were Indians, and few from missionaries. They knew if they saw the fame of Swami there, people were just loving him. And they knew if it goes in a full run, they will be in danger. So these people started a campaign against Swami Vivekananda, saying that he's a fraud, he doesn't have credentials. Now, one more problem had come. Swami needed credentials because even though the event was a huge performing act in West, there was no coverage in India. No, nobody knew. So he had asked Alasinga to host meetings and invite people who hold power to come and talk about the importance of the event, importance of the speech that Swami had given in Chicago. So Alasinga did what his guru asked him to. Again, he held satsangs technically at Pachayappa University in Mysore. People had come, King of Mysore, King of K3, Raja of Junagadh, like all people who had power, who held some place, and who loved Swami Vivekananda had come and spoke at the event. The importance of Swami speaking at the West, the Parliament of Religions, and this made sure it was reported in the paper. It was written in the newspapers, and those papers were sent to West so that he could get some credentials. So the king of Mysore told that coined this title for Alasinga Perumal, the uncrowned prince of Madras. So satsangs are not something new for Kaliputras, right from Swami Vivekananda and Alasinga Perumal. So we know the rest of the story. Swami had come back, and I want you all to always read in between the lines, because you remember the line that we spoke about where Swami said in one of his letters, I must try to the end, and even if I die of cold or disease or hunger here, you take up the task. Holiness, sincerity, and faith. What was Swami trying to tell? Strong young men and women with strong willpower who are capable of changing the Kala Chakra will be born in the future. And when they are born and when they are ready, I will return to show them the path. Because Swami Vivekananda, he was not a normal human. He was the apex Bhakti Marg Tantrik. And he had already attained everything there is, such that he could even choose when to be born, at what instant. He had the power to choose. Jema. Jai Madhya.